I came home in the middle of the night to find another man in my apartment. My fiancé pretended to be asleep. There are moments in life that you remember with perfect clarity, even years later. The exact temperature of the air, the way the light fell, the sound of your own heartbeat in your ears. For the rest of your life, you can close your eyes and be right back there, feeling everything all over again. For me, that moment is 3:17 a.m. on a Thursday in March. Standing in the hallway of my own apartment, my suitcase still in my hand, jet-lagged and exhausted, watching a stranger open my door and call out to my fiancé like he owned the place. My name is Marcus. I'm 33 years old. At the time, I was engaged to a woman named Vanessa. We'd been together for 4 years, engaged for 1. The wedding was supposed to be in 6 months. I was coming home from a business trip. A week in Chicago, meetings with clients, the usual grind. The trip had gone well. Better than expected, actually. I'd closed 2 big deals, gotten praise from my boss, and was looking forward to a quiet weekend with Vanessa before the next round of chaos. My flight was scheduled to land at 9 p.m. on Wednesday night. Plenty of time to get home, unpack, maybe even catch the end of a movie with Vanessa before bed. I texted her from the airport, "Flight's on time. See you soon. Love you." She'd responded, "Can't wait. Drive safe. Red heart." But the universe had other plans. We boarded on time, sat on the tarmac for an hour, then were told there were mechanical issues. Another hour passed. Then they announced the flight was canceled. No replacement available until morning. The airline put us up in a hotel near the airport. A sad, fluorescent-lit place with thin walls and scratchy sheets. And I settled in for a long, frustrating night. I called Vanessa to tell her. No answer. I texted, "Flight canceled. Stuck in Chicago overnight. We'll try to get on something tomorrow. So sorry. Love you." No response. She was probably asleep, I told myself. It was late. She had work in the morning. I shouldn't worry. I didn't sleep well. The hotel bed was uncomfortable, and my mind was racing with the logistics of getting home. I checked flight options at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Finally, at 6 a.m., I found one, a 7:30 flight that would get me into the city by 10 a.m. I booked it, packed my bag, and headed to the airport. The flight was uneventful. I landed at 10:15, grabbed my suitcase, and took a cab home. I was exhausted, running on maybe 3 hours of sleep, but I was almost there, almost home. I let myself into the building at 11 a.m., rode the elevator up to the 4th floor, and walked to our door. I could hear music playing inside, Vanessa's favorite playlist. Good, I thought. She's home. I'll surprise her. I opened the door. The living room was different. There were wine glasses on the coffee table, 2 of them. An empty bottle of the good red she always saved for special occasions. A jacket draped over the back of the couch that I didn't recognize. Men's jacket, size large, definitely not mine. I stood there for a moment, processing. Maybe she had a friend over. A girlfriend. They'd had wine, watched movies, her friend left his jacket? That didn't make sense. "Vanessa!" I called out. No answer. The music continued to play. I walked through the living room, toward the bedroom. The door was closed. I could hear voices, low, murmuring, intimate. My hand reached for the handle, then stopped. Something held me back. Fear, maybe, or denial. The unwillingness to know. I stepped back, sat on the couch, waited. An hour passed. 2 hours. The music stopped. I heard movement in the bedroom. The door opened, and a man walked out. Shirtless, rubbing his eyes, clearly just waking up. He saw me, froze. "Ah!" He looked around, confused. "Who are you?" I stood up. "I'm Marcus. I live here. Who are you?" His face went pale. "Oh shit. Oh shit, man. I'm sorry." She said. "She told me." "She told you what?" He was scrambling now, grabbing his jacket from the couch, looking for his shoes. "I didn't know. I swear. She said her boyfriend was out of town. She didn't mention a fiancé. She didn't mention anyone living here." "Get out." "I'm going." I'm going. I'm so sorry, man. He was gone in seconds. The door slammed behind him. I stood in my living room, alone, trying to breathe. Then I heard her voice from the bedroom. Babe? Who was that? Is everything okay? I walked to the bedroom door, opened it. Vanessa was in bed. Sheets pulled up to her chin, hair messy, makeup smudged. She looked at me, and for one beautiful moment, her face lit up with surprise and joy. Marcus, you're home early. I thought your flight was. Then she saw my face, saw the understanding in my eyes, and her expression shifted. Guilt, fear, calculation. How long were you here? She asked quietly. Long enough. Marcus, I can explain. It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. There was a man in our apartment, in our bed, at 11 a.m. Don't insult me by lying. She sat up, clutching the sheets. He's just a friend. He crashed here after a party. Nothing happened. I heard you. Through the door. I heard you. She had no response to that. I turned and walked out, grabbed my suitcase from where I dropped it, walked to the door. Where are you going? She called after me. I don't know. Away from you. I spent the next 3 hours driving. Just driving, no destination. Letting the road blur past as my mind raced through everything. For years of my life. A year of engagement. Plans, dreams, a future. All of it built on lies. When I finally stopped, I was at a hotel on the other side of town. I checked in, collapsed on the bed, and stared at the ceiling until I fell asleep from sheer exhaustion. The next morning, I woke up to 100 messages. Vanessa, begging me to come home. Vanessa, pleading for a chance to explain. Vanessa, angry that I'd left. Vanessa, sorry. Vanessa, defensive. A roller coaster of emotions that told me everything I needed to know. I didn't respond. Couldn't. Not yet. I called my boss, took a week off. Told him there was a family emergency. He didn't ask questions. And I sat in that hotel room, trying to figure out what came next. The next few days were a blur of pain and confusion. I didn't go back to the apartment. Couldn't face it. Couldn't face her. I stayed in the hotel, ordering room service, watching TV I didn't see, replaying the same memories over and over. The first time we'd met at a coffee shop downtown. Our first date when we talked for 6 hours without noticing the time. The night I proposed, when she'd cried and said yes and I'd felt like the luckiest man alive. All of it tainted now. All of it lies. Vanessa kept calling, kept texting. I read some of them, deleted others. She tried every angle. Guilt, anger, sorrow, seduction. Nothing worked. I was a wall and she couldn't find a way through. On the third day, she showed up at the hotel. I don't know how she found me. Maybe she tracked my phone or called around until she found the right place. But there she was, standing in the lobby, looking smaller than I remembered. Tear-streaked, exhausted, desperate. Please, she said, just give me 5 minutes. You owe me that. I don't owe you anything. 5 minutes. Then I'll leave. I promise. I led her to a corner of the lobby, away from other guests. We sat across from each other, and for a moment, neither of us spoke. I'm sorry, she began. I know that's not enough. I know nothing I say can fix this. But I need you to know that I'm sorry. Truly sorry. Sorry for what? For cheating? For lying? For making me feel like an idiot? For all of it. For everything. She wiped her eyes. He was just someone I met at a bar. A few weeks ago. It was nothing. It meant nothing. It meant enough for you to bring him to our apartment. To our bed. She flinched. I wasn't thinking. I was stupid. Selfish. I didn't think you'd find out. But I did find out. That's the thing about betrayal. It always comes out eventually. She nodded, crying. I know. I'll do anything to make it right. Therapy, counseling, whatever you need. Just please don't throw away 4 years. I'm not throwing away 4 years. You did that. Not me. We talked for another hour. Or rather, she talked and I listened. She told me about the loneliness she'd felt when I was traveling, the attention she'd craved, the mistake she'd made. She apologized over and over, each apology feeling more hollow than the last. When she finally left, I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no relief. Just emptiness. The next day, I went back to the apartment. She was at work. I timed it that way. I packed my things, took what was mine, left the ring on the kitchen counter with a note. I deserve better. I moved into a new place. A small studio, temporary, until I figured out what came next. I changed my number, blocked her on everything, told mutual friends I didn't want to hear about her. The first few weeks were hard. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, reaching for her, then remember. I'd see something that reminded me of her and feel the grief all over again. I'd wonder if I'd made a mistake, if I should have given her a chance, if 4 years was worth throwing away. But every time I started to waver, I remembered that morning. The man at the door, her voice from the bedroom, the casual betrayal, the complete disregard for our relationship. And I knew I'd made the right choice. I started therapy. Dr. Chun was patient, helped me untangle the knots in my head. "You're grieving," she said. "Not just the relationship, but the future you thought you'd have. That's normal. That's healthy. Give yourself permission to feel it. How long does it take? Everyone's different. But I promise you it gets better. Not right away, not all at once. But eventually." I held on to that. Months passed. I threw myself into work, into hobbies, into rebuilding. I started running, lost the weight I'd gained from hotel food and depression. I reconnected with old friends, made new ones. Slowly, painfully, I started to feel like myself again. Then, 6 months after that morning, I got a call from an unknown number. "Marcus? It's Derek. Vanessa's brother." I almost hung up, but something made me stay on the line. "I know you probably don't want to hear from me. I get it. But I thought you should know Vanessa's engaged. To the guy. The one from that night." The words hit me like a physical blow. Not because I still loved her. I didn't. But because it confirmed something I'd suspected. It wasn't just a mistake. It was a choice. A relationship. A replacement. "They've been together since a few weeks after you left," Derek continued. "I'm sorry, man. I thought you should know." "Thanks," I managed. "I appreciate it." I hung up and sat in silence. And then, something strange happened. I felt relief, closure. The final piece of a puzzle I hadn't known I was still trying to solve. She'd moved on. So could I? The news about Vanessa and the other man, his name was Chris, I later learned, should have devastated me. Instead, it freed me. For months, I'd been carrying a weight I didn't fully understand. A hope, maybe, that she'd regret it. That she'd come back. That somehow, impossibly, we could find our way back to each other. Her brother's call shattered that illusion completely. She wasn't coming back. She'd never been mine the way I thought. And that was okay. Better than okay, it was liberating. I started dating again. Carefully, slowly, with boundaries I'd never had before. I met women who were kind, interesting, present. Nothing serious, just practice. Just proof that I could still connect, still trust, still open myself to someone new. Then I met Elena. She was a friend of a friend, at a barbecue on a summer afternoon. I noticed her immediately, not because she was the most beautiful woman there, though she was, but because she was laughing, really laughing, head thrown back, completely unself-conscious. It was the kind of laugh that made you want to hear it again. We talked for hours that day, about work, about life, about nothing. She was smart, funny, warm. She asked questions and actually listened to the answers. When I told her about my past, the betrayal, the breakup, the healing, she didn't flinch. "That sounds incredibly painful," she said. "I'm sorry you went through that." "Thanks. It was. But I'm better now." "Good. You deserve to be." We exchanged numbers, started dating, took it slow. Both of us carried our own histories, our own caution. But slowly, carefully, we built something real. A year later, I proposed. She said yes. Our wedding was small, intimate, perfect. My family came, the friends who'd stuck with me through everything, a few colleagues who'd become close. It was everything I'd once imagined with Vanessa, but better. Because it was real. Elena and I bought a house together. Started talking about kids. Built a life that felt solid, lasting, true. I thought about Vanessa sometimes, not with longing, but with a kind of distant curiosity. I wondered if she was happy, if she'd changed, if she ever thought about the damage she'd caused. I hoped she was okay. Not because I wanted her back, but because I didn't want to carry anger anymore. Then, 2 years into my marriage with Elena, I got another call from Derek. "Marcus, I know I shouldn't be calling, but Vanessa's in the hospital. She's been in a car accident. She's asking for you." I was silent for a long moment. "I know it's a lot to ask. I know what she did to you, but she's not doing well. The doctors aren't sure she's going to make it. And she keeps saying your name." "I'll think about it." I hung up, talked to Elena that night. She listened, held my hand, didn't try to tell me what to do. "What do you want to do?" she asked. "I don't know. Part of me never wants to see her again. Part of me, I don't know, wants closure, maybe, wants to understand." "Then go. If you think it will help you, go. I'll be here when you get back." I went. The hospital was cold and sterile, the way hospitals always are. I walked through corridors that all looked the same, following signs to the ICU, my heart pounding in a way I hadn't expected. Derek met me at the door. He looked older, tired, worn down by worry. "Thanks for coming," he said. "I know it's a lot to ask. How is she?" "Not good. Multiple fractures, internal bleeding. She's been in and out of surgery for 3 days. They're optimistic, but—" He trailed off. "Chris? Is he here?" Derek's face flickered. "He left. A month after they got engaged. Couldn't handle the commitment, I guess. She's been alone since." I didn't know what to feel about that. Satisfaction? Pity? Indifference? "She's in room 412. I'll wait here." I walked to the room, pushed open the door. Vanessa was barely recognizable. Her face was swollen, bruised, half covered in bandages. Tubes ran from her arms, her nose, her mouth. Machines beeped and hummed around her. I sat in the chair beside her bed. For a long time, I just watched her breathe. Then her eyes fluttered open. She looked at me, confused at first, then something flickered in them. Recognition and tears. "Marcus," she whispered. Her voice was hoarse, barely audible. "I'm here. You came. Your brother called. He said you were asking for me." She nodded, wincing at the movement. "I needed to see you. Needed to say, I'm sorry. For everything. For what I did. For how I hurt you." "Vanessa, let me finish. Please." She took a shaky breath. "I've had a lot of time to think. Lying here, not knowing if I'd wake up. And all I could think about was you. About how I threw away the best thing that ever happened to me. For nothing. For someone who didn't even stay. I didn't respond. Didn't make it easy. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it. I just needed you to know that I know. I know what I did. I know who you were. And I'm sorry. Truly, deeply sorry." I reached out and took her hand. Felt small, fragile. "Thank you," I said, "for saying that. Do you think, could you ever?" "I forgave you a long time ago, Vanessa. Not for you, for me. So I could move on. So I could be happy." She cried then, silent tears sliding down her bruised cheeks. "I'm married now," I continued. "Her name is Elena. She's wonderful. We have a life together. A good life. I'm glad. You deserve that. I hope you find it too. Someday. When you're better." She nodded, too tired to speak. I stayed for another hour until she fell asleep. Then I walked out, found Derek in the waiting room. "She's resting," I said. "Take care of her." "I will. Thanks for coming, Marcus. It meant more than you know." I drove home that night with a strange sense of peace. Not closure, I'd already found that, but something deeper. A final laying to rest of ghosts I hadn't known I was still carrying. Elena was waiting up for me. She hugged me tight, didn't ask questions, just held me. "I'm okay," I said. "Really okay. I know. I can feel it." We went to bed, and I slept better than I had in years. Vanessa recovered. It took months, surgeries, rehabilitation, therapy, but she pulled through. Derek kept me updated, and I was grateful for the news, even though I didn't reach out again. She moved away eventually. Different city, fresh start. I heard she went back to school, started a new career, found someone new. I hoped she was happy. I genuinely did. But my life was here with Elena, with the family we were building. Our daughter, Maya, was born 2 years after that hospital visit. She has Elena's smile and my stubbornness, and she is the absolute center of our world. I come home from work every day to her shrieking "Dada" and launching herself into my arms, and every stress, every worry, every memory of the past dissolves in that moment. We have a son now too, Leo, just 6 months old. Our family is complete in ways I never could have imagined back in that hotel room, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I'd ever feel whole again. I think about Vanessa sometimes. Not often, but occasionally. When I do, it's not with anger or sadness. It's with a kind of distant gratitude. Because if she hadn't betrayed me, I wouldn't have this life, this love, this family. The pain she caused was real. The betrayal cut deep. But it also cleared the way for something better. Something I might never have found if she'd been faithful. I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe it's just the way humans cope. Finding meaning in suffering, silver linings in storms. But it feels true. Feels right. Elena and I talk about it sometimes late at night when the kids are asleep. About how our paths could have been different. About how grateful we are that they converged. I used to think my story was about betrayal, I told her once. Now I think it's about redemption. She smiled, that smile I still love. It's about both. And about choice. You chose to heal. You chose to trust again. You chose me. I did. And I choose you every time. We kissed and the world felt whole. So, ITA for walking away that morning. For refusing to give Vanessa another chance. For building a life without her? I've thought about that question a lot. And here's my answer. No, I'm not the asshole. I'm someone who knew his worth and refused to settle for less. I'm a man who chose himself when it would have been easier to stay. I'm a husband, a father, a human being who learned that sometimes the hardest choices are the ones that save you. Could I have handled it differently? Maybe. Could I have been more forgiving, more understanding, more willing to work through it? Possibly. But I did what I thought was right at the time. And in the end, it was enough. The past is the past. The future is here, in this house, with this family, with this love. And that's more than enough. That's it for today's stories. If you want to see more of the best threads Reddit has to offer, make Reddit Be Mine a part of your daily routine. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a heartbeat. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next thread.